What if this was it? What if today was your last ordinary day before everything changed? No warning, no countdown, just this moment, right now, being the turning point of your entire life. Would you still scroll aimlessly? Would you still shrink into the background? Would you still keep saying, I'll do it later? Or would you finally move like your time matters? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most people live like they've got forever, but forever isn't real. Only this moment is, and most won't realize that until it's too late. Act like you were meant to win. The moment you decide to carry yourself like someone who was meant to win, your life begins to shift. This isn't about pretending. It's not about faking confidence or forcing motivation. It's about making a choice, an inner decision that says, I belong here, I deserve this, and I'm going to show up like it. You see, most people aren't losing because they lack talent. Most aren't stuck because they don't have potential. They're stuck because they've never given themselves permission to act like a winner. They hesitate. They overthink. They keep waiting, waiting for clarity, for confidence, for someone else to tell them, it's okay now. You can go all in. But the truth? Winners don't wait. Winners don't ask for permission. They move. They decide. They show up as if the outcome depends on them, because it does. If you're still living like you're waiting to figure it all out, let this be the moment you wake up. It's time to stop carrying yourself like a question mark. Start showing up like you've already claimed the answer. Don't wait for the perfect timing. Don't wait for life to slow down. Don't wait until you feel more confident. Confidence doesn't come first. Action does. And belief doesn't knock politely. It builds when you show up again and again, even when the results haven't shown up yet. That's the shift. That's the power. You start behaving like the version of yourself who already made it. Not someday. Not when the paycheck clears. Not when you get a title, the validation, or applause. Now. That's where most people fall behind. They tell themselves, I'll go harder when I'm sure, or I'll be disciplined when I feel ready. But life doesn't wait for readiness. Success doesn't arrive and hand you an identity. You have to step into it before it exists, before the world sees it, before your friends get it, even before you fully believe it yourself. Start living from your future, not your fear. If you keep letting your past guide your behavior, you'll stay on a loop. The loop of hesitation, of almost, of maybe one day. But when you carry yourself like the win is already yours, everything starts to change. Your decisions become sharper. Your habits get stronger. Your time becomes sacred. Your energy becomes more directed. This isn't about pretending or flexing for social media. It's about choosing to live at a higher standard for yourself. Because that's the level of respect your goals deserve. That's the kind of respect you deserve. Too often, people ask, how do I feel more motivated? Or how do I become confident? But the real answer isn't in waiting for the feeling. It's in the behavior. You act like you believe in yourself, even when it's hard, even when no one claps, even when the scoreboard still says 0. You speak like someone who values their voice. You move like someone who protects their future, because your future is worth protecting. Winners don't waste their time repeating the same sad story. They don't blame others. They don't scroll through excuses. They take ownership. They adjust. They show up on the boring days, the quiet days, the invisible days, because they know that discipline builds silently. And when life hits, because it will, they don't fall apart. They respond. They stay calm. They keep going. Not because they feel invincible, but because they made a decision long ago. I'm not going back. So here's the question. If you already had the life you dream of, how would you act? How would you speak to people? How would you treat your body, your time, your money? Would you let small things ruin your day? Would you complain about things you can control? Probably not. So why wait to live that way? Why let your current reality keep you from becoming the person who changes that reality? The truth is, the identity creates the win, not the other way around. You don't become successful and then decide to act like it. You act like it first, and the success follows. So from now on, raise your standard, dress like it, think like it, move like it, speak like your words matter, because they do. Every action you take sends a message to your environment, yes, but more importantly, to yourself. Every time you show up like the person you want to become, you're programming your mind. We're already there. Now act like it. And over time, your life begins to rise to meet that belief. So stop waiting. Stop hesitating. Stop living like you're catching up. You're not behind. You're ready. Not because everything is perfect, but because you decided to start now. This is your time, not someday, today. Move like your future depends on today. Your future isn't waiting for the perfect moment. It's being shaped right now by what you do today. Every choice you make, every action you take is either building the life you want or keeping you stuck in the one you're trying to escape. This isn't just a catchy phrase. It's the truth that most people avoid. They wake up and drift through the day. They procrastinate. They waste time on things that don't matter, convincing themselves that they'll figure it out later. But later has a price. The life they want slips further away, not because they aren't capable, but because they're not urgent. Winners move differently. They understand something critical. Time is not unlimited. Every moment is either an investment in growth or a debt to regret. They don't treat today like it's disposable. They treat it like it matters. Because it does. If you keep living the same way, hoping things will change, but doing nothing to change them, you'll stay stuck. Life rewards action, not intention. It responds to those who move with clarity and energy, not just when they're inspired, but every single day, especially when they're not. Ask yourself this. If your future self, the person you want to become, could walk into the room right now and watch you, would they be proud? Would they see someone focused, disciplined, committed? Or would they see someone stalling, delaying, hiding behind comfort? You can't live like the future is a maybe. You can't keep pushing off your goals and expect them to stay in place waiting for you. They won't. Growth doesn't wait. Progress doesn't pause. The world keeps moving, with or without you. So how do you take control? You start treating each day like it's a brick in the foundation of your future. Not every day needs to be spectacular, but it must be intentional. It must be built on purpose. That means turning down distractions. That means doing the hard thing first, That means choosing movement over excuses. You don't need more time. You need better focus. You don't need more motivation. You need more structure. The people who rise in life aren't perfect. They have bad days, tired days, lost days, but they don't use those days as reasons to quit. They use them as fuel to build. You've got 24 hours like everyone else. The difference isn't the amount of time, it's what you do with it. Your calendar is your commitment. Your schedule reveals your priorities. What you choose daily reveals who you're becoming. So move like it matters. Wake up and take control of your energy before the world grabs it. Set clear priorities. Ask yourself honestly, is what I'm doing right now helping me move forward or holding me back? Cut the fluff. Say no more often. Honor your word, even when no one's checking on you. And if you fall off, don't spiral. Don't shame yourself. Just reset. Get up. Begin again. The winners aren't the ones who never fail. They're the ones who refuse to stay down. Your goals don't care how you feel. Your future doesn't pause for you to get in the mood. The work must be done, whether or not it's convenient. Your discipline must lead, not your emotions. Because every small decision compounds. One skipped workout, one wasted hour, one broken promise. It seems minor, but stack those enough times and your momentum dies. On the other hand, one focused hour, one intentional step, one completed task, that adds up too. That's what builds greatness. You don't need to feel ready. You just need to decide that today counts. Get serious about your mornings. Make your bed, not because it's exciting, but because it sets a tone. Eat well, not because it's trendy, but because your body powers your mind. Study, work, train, speak, follow through. Not for show, but because your life is worth the effort. There's a huge difference between someone on autopilot and someone moving with intention. You can feel it, you can see it, and most importantly, you can become it. You want change? Then do the hard thing first. Turn off the noise. Set the standard. And remind yourself daily, this time, I'm not quitting. So, when you wake up tomorrow, don't waste the morning scrolling through distractions. Don't drift. Don't wait for a spark. Be the spark. Be the one who moves forward, even when it's uncomfortable. Be the one who acts before they feel ready. That's how you build momentum. Discipline isn't forged when everything is easy. It's built in the pressure moments, when giving up feels justified, but you don't. You move anyway. You decide anyway. You lead yourself anyway, because your future is watching. And every step you take today is a message. I'm serious about this. I'm not here to repeat history. I'm here to build a new one. Decide what you want and go get it. If you want to change your life, you have to start with one thing, a decision, not a wish, not a hope, not a maybe. A real, committed decision. The kind that says, this is what I want, and I won't stop until I get it. That kind of clarity is rare. Most people never decide. They think about it. They talk about it. They dream out loud. But deep down, they stay on the fence, afraid to commit, scared to risk, waiting for the perfect time. But life doesn't wait for indecision. If you don't decide, someone else will decide for you. Circumstances will shape your path. Other people's agendas will steal your time. And one day, you'll look back and realize you never built your own life. You simply reacted to everything around you. But when you decide, really decide, everything starts to change. Suddenly, distractions look different. You stop giving energy to things that don't match your direction. You stop saying yes to things that keep you stuck. You stop living by other people's expectations and start choosing based on your values, your vision, your future. That's the power of a decision. The truth is, clarity creates momentum. The moment you decide exactly what you want, your life gains focus. You can see what needs to be cut and what needs to be cultivated. You move differently. You speak differently. You use your time with more intention because now it means something. And yet, most people avoid this step. Why? Because deciding means responsibility. It means there's no one left to blame if things don't work out. It means no more hiding behind confusion, no more delaying, no more playing small. But if you want real growth, real change, real purpose, you have to accept that weight. You have to own it. So, what do you want? Not what your parents want, not what your friends expect, not what looks good on paper. What do you want, deep down, when you're honest with yourself? What burns in your chest when you're quiet? What dream refuses to go away? Don't water it down. Don't shrink it to make it easier. And don't wait for permission to want more. Wanting more doesn't make you greedy. It makes you awake. Be specific. Be bold. Be real. Because once you get clear, your actions can finally align. You stop drifting. You stop settling. You stop apologizing for wanting something bigger. You move like someone who's building something, not wishing for it. And here's what people don't tell you. Deciding is the easy part. Sticking to it when it gets hard, that's where most people fold. When the obstacles come, and they will, you have to stay locked in. When progress is slow, when support disappears, when the results aren't instant, you have to remind yourself why you started. You have to show up like the decision still matters, because it does. You won't reach something great with a part-time mindset. You won't live an extraordinary life with average habits. Once you've chosen your path, walk it like you mean it. Don't look around for applause. Don't beg for validation. Most people won't understand your vision, and that's okay. You're not building it for them. You're building it because it matters to you. Some days, it'll be quiet. No cheerleaders, no visible wins. Just you and your choice, again and again. But commitment is forged in those moments, the silent ones. That's where greatness is born, not in the spotlight, but in the consistency behind the scenes. Don't force the outcome. Just stay relentless about the process. There will be days when you feel off, when nothing clicks. That's okay. You're human. But your decision stays the same. You keep going, not because it's easy, but because you made a promise to yourself, and you intend to keep it. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be committed. When you're committed, You stop needing backup plans. You stop asking, what if it doesn't work? And start asking, what if I make it work? You burn the bridges behind you and move forward like there's no turning back. That's what sharpens you. That's what builds belief. That's what separates the average from the great. So decide, not tomorrow, not when it's convenient, now. Write it down, speak it out loud, and then back it up with action. Align your schedule, align your habits, align your thoughts and your environment. Build a world around that one decision, because that's how you take back your power. That's how you stop wasting energy on confusion and start building something real. And don't wait for it to feel perfect. It won't. That's not how this works. Progress doesn't wait for perfection. It rewards those who move. Every step forward makes fear smaller. Every act of courage builds momentum. So don't let fear be your excuse. Let it be your signal. Let it be the evidence that you're headed somewhere worth going. This is your moment. Not to wait, not to wonder, but to decide, and then go get it. Because once you do, life starts shifting in your favor. Not all at once, but piece by piece. Stop waiting and start building your real life. There comes a moment when you have to stop waiting and start building. Stop waiting for the perfect timing. Stop waiting for the motivation to strike. Stop waiting until you feel ready. Because waiting, no matter how noble it seems, will never build the life you want. It only builds frustration, delay, and regret. You don't need more ideas. You don't need more time. You need to start. You need to stop telling yourself, I'll do it when things settle down, or I'll begin when I feel more confident. That delay, it's costing you not just time, but momentum, belief, and growth. Most people stay stuck, not because they're incapable, but because they never get serious. They stay in planning mode. They keep talking about what they might do someday, but life doesn't respond to ideas. It responds to action. If you want a better life, you have to start building it today. You can't build a future from the sidelines. You can't become your best self by watching others do it. There's no shortcut around the work. You don't need everything figured out before you begin. You just need to take the first real step. One action. One move forward. That's how it starts. And yes, it will be uncomfortable. Growth always is. But being uncomfortable doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It means you're doing it at all. Most people get so comfortable waiting that they forget what it feels like to move. They settle. They lower their standards to match their comfort zone. And slowly, they begin to believe that maybe this is all life has to offer. But deep down, they know better. You know better. You weren't meant to live a life of delay and hesitation. You were built to create, to grow, to contribute something real. And that doesn't happen by accident. It happens by choice. So start where you are, not when it's perfect, not when you feel 100% ready. Start with what you have. Use the tools already within reach. Your current circumstances are not your limits. They're your launch pad. Don't let fear convince you that you need more before you begin. That lie is the greatest thief of potential. The truth is, every builder starts with doubt. Every achiever begins without a blueprint. They figure it out by doing, not by waiting. There are people out there building powerful, meaningful lives with less than what you have right now. Not because they're lucky, but because they chose to move while others were still hesitating. That's the difference. The longer you sit still, the heavier life feels. The more you delay, the more your belief shrinks. The more you overthink, the harder it becomes to act. But here's what's real. You don't get clarity by thinking. You get clarity by moving. So instead of sitting with hesitation, start making moves. Have the tough conversation. Make the call. Start the project. Change your routine. Set the boundary. Do the thing you've been putting off. Because the only thing between you and your next level is the decision to start showing up like you mean it. And once you do, you begin to build something greater than goals. You build trust with yourself. You prove that you're no longer just talking about change. You're actually living it. That trust, it's everything. It's what fuels discipline. It's what carries you through hard days. It's what separates people who dream from those who build. The truth is, the more you delay, the more stuck you feel. But action creates motion. Motion creates belief. Belief creates momentum. And momentum? That's how you change your life. So what are you still waiting for? Another sign? Another pep talk? Another guarantee that it'll work out? That's not how builders think. Builders know the result can't be predicted, but they move anyway. Because they know nothing great is ever built by waiting. You don't need to be fearless. You need to move despite fear. You don't need perfect timing. You need real urgency. You don't need more advice. You need execution. Every time you choose effort over hesitation, you take back control of your life. You take the power away from fear and give it to discipline. You stop being a passenger and become the builder, the leader, the architect of your own story. This is how you stop feeling stuck. This is how you change direction. This is how you create a future you're proud of. Not through magic, not through luck, but through movement, through action, through one decision at a time. So drop the excuses. Trade hesitation for intention. Trade perfectionism for progress. Trade planning for doing. Because the life you want isn't going to show up by itself. You have to go meet it. And it starts today. Show up every day like nothing can stop you. There's a quiet power in simply showing up. Not once. Not just when it feels good, but every single day. With focus, with intention, with the mindset that nothing can stop you. Most people think success is built on motivation. But motivation is temporary. It comes and goes. What really builds your life, what really changes your future, is discipline, consistency, and a decision to act like you were meant to win. You don't need perfect conditions to rise. You need commitment. You need to wake up and say, no matter how I feel today, I'm still going to show up. That doesn't mean you won't feel tired. It doesn't mean life won't get hard. But winners don't depend on how they feel to move forward. They've made a choice. I will be the kind of person who doesn't quit. And that's what makes all the difference. Because anyone can show up when things are easy. Anyone can give effort when there's praise, excitement, and energy. But real progress, it's built in the invisible moments, in the silent hours, in the days where you feel unmotivated, unseen, and uncertain. and you keep going anyway. Every time you choose discipline over excuses, you strengthen your identity. You train your mind to trust you. You prove to yourself, I don't back down just because things got uncomfortable. And that builds confidence. Not the loud kind, not the fake forced kind, but the quiet, unshakable kind that says, I've earned this. Because consistency builds pride, and pride builds momentum. The more you keep your promises to yourself, the less you need outside approval. You don't wait for someone to cheer you on. You don't need someone to tell you what to do. You've raised your own standard, and now you live by it. That's the real power, self-leadership. No reminders, no applause, no audience. Just you and your standard. Just you deciding that this life matters enough to take seriously. So, even when the path is hard, you show up. Even when you feel invisible, you show up. Even when nothing seems to be working, you show up because you've decided that giving up is not an option. That's how winners move. That's how strong people are made. You don't need to feel unstoppable. You need to act like you are. You don't need everything to be perfect. You just need to give your best effort with what you have. You won't always see the results right away. You won't always feel the progress. But every small act of discipline is stacking strength inside of you, and over time, that strength becomes unbreakable. You begin to carry yourself differently, not with arrogance, but with certainty. You stop negotiating with your excuses. You stop letting feelings run your day. You stop shrinking into old patterns just because the pressure is high. Instead, you rise. You train your mind to push through. You learn to lead yourself in moments of chaos. When emotions scream at you to slow down, give up, or escape. And you say, not today, because you're not here to play small. You're here to build, to lead, to grow. This is how breakthroughs happen. Not in giant leaps, but in consistent effort when most people would quit. You show up when it's dark. You show up when no one's watching. You show up even when it's boring, because you know what you're building. And if you fall behind, if you miss a day, you don't let it destroy your progress. You reset, you recommit, you step back in, not out of guilt, but because your goals are bigger than your moods. You don't need perfect discipline. You need real discipline, the kind that keeps showing up when it's not easy, the kind that speaks louder than any excuse. This is what separates the ones who dream from the ones who do. Not luck, not talent, not hype. Consistency. So tomorrow, when you wake up, don't scroll your morning away. Don't wait for the right energy. Don't drag your feet through the day. Stand up. Get focused. Move with intention. Show up like your life depends on it, because it does. And when that future version of you finally arrives, the one who is clear, strong, steady, confident, they'll look back and know the truth. It wasn't luck. It wasn't magic. It was you, your discipline, your decision to show up day after day like nothing could stop you. Because that's what greatness looks like behind the scenes. Not flashy, not loud, just consistent, quiet, relentless effort. And that's exactly what you're capable of. Train your mind to believe you can win. Winning doesn't start with action. It starts with belief. Before your results ever change, your mindset has to. If you don't believe you can win, your actions will always fall short of your potential. That's where most people lose. Not in their effort, not in their talent, but in their thinking. They've never trained their mind to believe they're capable. They move through life with self-doubt, insecurity, hesitation, thinking small, speaking fear, and expecting the worst. And guess what? The mind follows the direction it's fed. If you constantly feed your thoughts with negativity, comparison, and scarcity, don't be surprised when your confidence crumbles. You're not failing because you're weak. You're failing because you haven't trained your mind to be strong. So it's time to flip the script. Just like you train your body at the gym, your mind needs daily workouts too. Mental strength isn't something you're born with. It's built. Slowly, intentionally, consistently. It begins with awareness. Pay attention to your inner voice, the silent conversations you have with yourself every day. What are you telling yourself when things get hard, when you make a mistake, when things go wrong? Do you beat yourself down, or do you speak like someone who's determined to rise? That voice inside you. It's the most powerful influence on your life, not your friends, not the opinions of strangers, not even your circumstances. What you say to yourself when no one's listening will shape everything you do. So, if your inner dialogue is filled with "I'm not good enough," or "I always mess up," or "I never get it right," that becomes your identity. And your identity drives your behavior. But here's the good news. You can retrain your mind. You can rebuild your belief system. You can teach your thoughts to serve you instead of sabotage you. How? Start by challenging the lie. Every time your mind tells you, "You can't handle this," talk back. "I've handled worse." When fear whispers, "What if I fail?" Answer it. "What if I figure it out?" This isn't about toxic positivity. This is about speaking truth to your fear, truth to your doubt, truth to your insecurity. It's about remembering. You've already survived moments you didn't think you'd get through. You've already overcome things you thought would break you. You've already grown stronger, even when it didn't feel like progress. That's the truth you stand on. That's the foundation you build on. And then, you reinforce that mindset with action. You build confidence by doing the hard things, not by waiting to feel ready. You gain belief by following through, not by sitting still. When you keep your promises to yourself, you build trust. When you follow through on your word, even when it's hard, you create momentum. Your mind begins to say, "I can count on you now." And that trust becomes your superpower. But belief isn't just internal. It's environmental too. You have to protect your mental space. What you read, what you watch, who you spend time with. These things shape your thoughts more than you realize. If you're surrounded by negativity, sarcasm, gossip, and doubt, your mindset will absorb it. But if you fill your environment with purpose, challenge, inspiration, and growth, you start rising automatically. So choose your circle wisely. Choose your content wisely. Choose your thoughts with care. This isn't just motivation. It's mental reprogramming. Because the truth is, your mind can either be your greatest weapon or your greatest weakness. And that depends on how you train it. Start every day with a mindset check. Ask yourself, am I thinking like someone who's moving forward or someone who's playing small? And when old thoughts creep in, the ones that tell you to shrink, to doubt, to quit, you don't ignore them. You confront them. You remind yourself, that's not me anymore. I choose strength. I choose direction. I choose to lead my mind, not follow my fears. That's how transformation begins, not overnight, not all at once, but thought by thought, day by day. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be intentional. Speak to yourself with clarity. Interrupt the patterns that keep you small. Replace them with truth that lifts you higher. Train your mind like it's the most important tool you own, because it is. You can lose everything else. But if your mind stays strong, you can rebuild. You can restart. You can rise again. And when belief becomes your baseline, when it's no longer just something you try to force, but something that lives in you, your life will begin to reflect that. So start now. Don't wait until the pressure hits. Don't wait until you're in crisis. Build your mindset before the storm comes. Strengthen your belief while it's still quiet. Because when things get loud, when the world shakes, when life tests you, you won't fall apart. You'll stand firm. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. Stop hiding and step into your own power. You weren't born to live small. You weren't made to shrink yourself just to make other people comfortable. But somewhere along the way, you started playing it safe. You stopped speaking up. You stopped showing up fully. You started hiding parts of yourself, your voice, your ideas, your boldness, because you were afraid. Afraid of judgment, afraid of failure, afraid of standing out and getting it wrong. But here's the truth. That hiding is costing you. It's costing you growth. It's costing you confidence. It's keeping you from becoming who you were always meant to be. You don't need to wait for someone to hand you permission. You don't need a perfect past, a perfect plan, or a perfect setup. You need courage. The courage to stop playing beneath your potential. Because no one is coming to announce it's your time. You decide that. You claim your moment by showing up fully, not partially, not halfway, fully. Hiding might protect you from being seen, but it also blocks you from being chosen. Playing small might save you from discomfort, but it also steals your power. And the longer you stay in the background, the more disconnected you become from your own potential. You start convincing yourself that you're not ready, that maybe you're not enough, that maybe you were never meant to do something great. But that voice, that's not truth. That's fear. And fear doesn't get to run your life. Not anymore. Stepping into your power doesn't mean being loud or arrogant. It doesn't mean pretending to have it all figured out. It means owning who you really are without apology. It means saying, this is me. This is what I stand for. This is what I'm building. You don't need to wait until you feel fearless, because fear won't vanish on its own. It disappears through action. You start reclaiming your power the moment you stop waiting to be picked and start picking yourself. So take up space, speak your truth, bring your energy into the room like you belong there, because you do. You've got something to offer, a gift, a voice, a story, a perspective that only you can share. And hiding it doesn't help the world. Shrinking it doesn't protect your future. Your true strength shows up when you use what you've been given, not when you keep it tucked away for someday. And no, it won't always feel easy. You'll have moments where your confidence shakes. You'll face rejection, criticism, doubt. But don't let that convince you to go back into hiding. Let it remind you that you're on the path. Because the people who win in life aren't the ones who never fall. They're the ones who refuse to stay hidden. They show up, even with the pressure, even with the fear, even when they're still learning. They take responsibility. They lead themselves. They step forward when others hesitate. And so can you. There's a version of you that already exists. The bold one, the driven one, the one who doesn't play small. You've seen glimpses of that person in moments when you spoke up, when you acted with clarity, when you didn't hold back. Now, it's time to live that version every day. You won't get stronger by avoiding pressure. You won't grow by staying quiet. You won't find your power by waiting for approval. You'll find it in the doing, in the action, in the decision to rise, even when no one claps. So, be honest with yourself. Where are you shrinking? Where are you avoiding? Where are you holding back? Call it out. Don't sugarcoat it, and then shift it. Make one bold decision. Have one real conversation. Take one powerful step toward becoming the person you were meant to be. That's how it starts. Not with a huge breakthrough, but with a small moment of courage, repeated again and again. You don't have to prove anything to anyone else. You just need to prove it to yourself that you're not going to keep living small, that you're not going to keep waiting, that you're not going to keep pretending you don't have what it takes, because you do. You were never meant to stay hidden. You were meant to live with presence, to lead with intention, to build something that reflects who you truly are. So stop waiting. Stop holding back. Stop playing down your worth. You've got more in you than the world has seen. Now is the time to bring it out. Own it. Speak it. Walk in it. Not for applause, not for validation, but because you're finally choosing to show up as you. And when you do, your life will change. Handle hard days like winners always do. Everyone has hard days. No one is immune to stress, setbacks, or moments where everything feels heavy. But the people who win, they don't crumble when those days come. They don't panic. They don't fold. They respond. What separates them isn't that they never feel pressure. It's that they've trained themselves to lead through it. Winners don't wait for life to be easy before they show up strong. They prepare their minds for adversity. They expect difficulty, and when it arrives, they don't take it personally. They don't act like something's wrong just because it's hard. They know that hard is normal. And most importantly, they don't quit. They don't give a bad hour the power to ruin an entire day. They don't let a rough morning turn into a wasted week. They simplify, reset, and keep moving. You don't need to be superhuman to handle hard days. You just need to be trained. You need to train yourself to stay composed when things get messy, to stay committed when your mood tells you to quit, to stay focused even when nothing feels easy, because your true strength doesn't show up when everything goes right. It reveals itself when nothing goes your way and you keep going anyway. On tough days, most people collapse inward. They overthink, complain, blame, and back away from responsibility. But winners, they get quiet, they get clear, they take the next step, no matter how small. You need to stop viewing hard days as setbacks. Start seeing them as training grounds. Because every time you respond to pressure with discipline instead of drama, you build resilience. Every time you stick to your standards, even when it's difficult, you build pride. You don't grow by avoiding struggle. You grow by facing it with composure and courage. That's the mindset shift. So when the day feels off, when the pressure is real, when you want to disappear, don't. You don't have to be perfect, but you do have to be present. Show up in some way. Stick to your habits. Move your body. Drink water. Do something that moves you forward. Because progress, even when it's small, is still progress. And when your emotions scream, when doubt gets loud, when your mind tells you to run, don't obey it. Speak back. Lead yourself through it. Say, "This is hard, but I'm still here. I'm still building. I'm not backing down." That's what mental strength looks like. Not pretending to be okay, but showing up with clarity and consistency, even when you're not okay. And part of that strength is building a system that supports you before you break. You need routines, not just for the good days, but for the rough ones. You need habits that ground you when chaos hits, like a strong morning routine, a list of non-negotiables, a plan to protect your energy and time, even when motivation is gone. When life gets loud, systems bring you back to center, and so does your self-talk. Most people spiral on hard days because their internal voice turns against them. One mistake, and they start repeating toxic scripts. I always mess this up. Maybe I'm not meant for this. Why can't I get it together? That voice? It's the real enemy. You have to interrupt it. You have to speak with strength. Remind yourself, I've been here before. I've gotten through worse. This doesn't define me. That's not ego. That's leadership. From the inside out. And yes, support matters too. Build a circle that reminds you of who you are on the days you forget. People who challenge you to keep rising when you feel like shrinking. But even if you don't have that yet, you can still lead yourself. Because even if no one else is watching, your future is. So treat every hard day like it still counts. Not as a break from the process, but as a critical part of it. Winners don't ghost their goals just because they feel off. They hydrate. They rest. But they don't retreat. They slow down if needed, but they don't stop. And if they fall behind, they don't beat themselves up. They reset. They honor the effort. They say, maybe today wasn't perfect, but I showed up, and that matters. Because consistency beats intensity over time. Small steps, stacked daily, even on tough days, build real momentum. So the next time the storm hits, and it will, you won't fold. You'll stand. You'll move forward. You'll lead yourself through it. Not because it's easy, but because you've trained for it. Because you've chosen to respond instead of react. Because you've decided that no mood, no obstacle, no bad day will stop you from becoming the person you're building. That's how winners think. That's how resilience is formed. That's how transformation happens. Not in the good days, but in the hard ones. Talk to yourself like someone who's unstoppable. The most powerful voice in your life isn't the loudest one around you. It's the one inside your head. The words you say to yourself, silently, consistently, and especially in moments of pressure, will either push you forward or keep you stuck. And for most people, that voice has become their greatest limitation. They don't need critics because they've become their own. They repeat every mistake. They replay every failure. They whisper self-doubt before the world even has the chance to. But if you want to become someone truly unstoppable, you have to change that voice. You can't keep talking to yourself like you're broken. You can't keep treating your thoughts like they're powerless. You've been through too much. You've survived too many hard things to keep speaking like you're weak. That voice inside you, it needs to become your coach, not your enemy. It needs to build, not break. It needs to lead, not limit. Maybe somewhere along the way, you started tearing yourself down before others could. Maybe you thought playing small would protect you from disappointment, but all it's really done is cost you progress. It's slowed your growth. It's stolen your belief. It's time to take your voice back, because winners talk to themselves with strength even when they feel weak. They don't lie to themselves, but they don't tear themselves apart either. They speak in a way that creates clarity, focus, direction. They ask, "What's next?" They say, "You've got this." They remind themselves, "You're not done yet." And that's what keeps them going. The words you speak shape the identity you step into. You want to be a leader? Then speak like someone who leads. You want to be resilient? Then speak like someone who gets back up. You want to be unstoppable? Then start by using words that make you move, not ones that make you freeze. So ask yourself, what do I say to myself when I mess up? What do I say when I feel behind? What do I say when things get hard? That's where the battle is won or lost. Most people don't fail because of circumstances. They fail because of the way they talk themselves out of trying again. They give up before they even restart. But you can interrupt that pattern. When you hear the old voice saying, "You're not ready," respond with, "I'll get stronger." When it says, "What if you fail again?" answer, "Then I'll learn and try smarter." When it says, "You're not good enough," you say, "I'm not perfect, but I'm committed." This isn't about faking positivity. This is about building inner resilience. Your self-talk isn't just background noise. It's instruction. It tells your mind what's possible. It creates emotional momentum. It influences every decision you make. So start speaking like someone who takes ownership. Speak like someone who's done being controlled by fear. Speak like someone who's serious about growth. Every morning, check in with yourself. Don't just roll into your day with a scattered mind. Speak your intention. Declare your focus. Say it out loud if you have to. I'm showing up today. I've got something to build. I'm not going through the motions. I'm moving with purpose. And when fear creeps in, don't run from it. Redirect it. Say, "That's not how I think anymore. That's not who I'm anymore. I lead, I build, I rise. The more you practice that kind of thinking, the faster it becomes your default setting. You won't get it perfect every time. That's okay. You'll still catch yourself slipping into old patterns. But every time you notice and correct, you're getting stronger. You're not trying to impress the world with fake confidence. You're training your identity. You're shaping your future one word at a time. Because belief is not just a feeling, it's a habit. And you build that habit by speaking with truth, with power, and with discipline. The best part? You don't need anyone's approval to start. You don't need anyone to validate your voice. You just need to believe that your inner narrative matters, because it does. You've spent enough time underestimating yourself, enough time doubting your value, enough time repeating old, limiting stories. Now it's time to tell a better one. Start with, I'm not where I want to be yet, but I'm not staying where I've been. I'm building something real, even if it takes time. My effort matters, even if no one claps. When your inner dialogue shifts, your entire life follows. Because the truth is, unstoppable people aren't fearless. They just refuse to let fear dictate the conversation. They talk to themselves like leaders, like warriors, like people who are building something that matters. So make this your standard. From this day forward, I speak power. I speak purpose. I speak progress. Even in silence. Even in doubt. Even when it's hard. Because I know one thing for sure. If I change the way I talk to myself, I can change the way I show up. And when that changes, everything does. Play this life like it's the only one you get. This is it. This is your one life, not a practice run, not a rehearsal, not a warm-up. It's the real thing, and it's happening right now. So why are you playing like there's time to waste? Why are you holding back your best effort? Why are you waiting for someday to finally start living? Most people live like they've got unlimited chances. They coast through their days. They put off their dreams. They make excuses, settle for average, and convince themselves they'll get serious later. But later isn't promised. And someday is not a strategy. If you don't take your life seriously now, you'll wake up one day filled with regret, wondering what could have happened if you had just gone for it. This life you've been given, it's not a test version. It's the full game. And every single day is a move. Every single decision is a play on the board. The question is, are you playing like it matters? Because it does. Your time here is finite. You don't get to press pause. You don't get to restart when things go wrong. You get one chance to build something meaningful, to become someone you're proud of, to leave a legacy that says, I showed up for real. So why are you still hesitating? Why are you still stuck in comfort? Why are you still living like the goal is just to get by? The goal is not survival. The goal is to live wide awake, to pursue purpose, to live with urgency, direction, and heart. That means doing the work when it's hard. That means choosing growth over convenience. That means not wasting your shot. You don't need to know the whole future to start living with passion now. You don't need to have it all figured out to give your full energy today. You just need to remember, this is your one life. Act like it. The people who win aren't waiting for a guarantee. They're not asking, what if it doesn't work? They're saying, what if it does, and I never tried? They're not playing not to lose, they're playing to win. They're not hiding behind fear. They're facing it because they know nothing great is built inside a comfort zone. And you, right now, you have a decision to make. Are you going to keep watching other people chase their dreams while you delay yours? Are you going to keep playing it safe? Or are you finally going to move like this life actually belongs to you? Because if you're serious about living a meaningful life, you've got to stop being passive about your purpose. Stop waiting for clarity to magically appear. Stop waiting for the perfect opportunity to fall in your lap. Create it. Own it. Chase it. Stop apologizing for your ambition. Stop diluting your dreams so they don't make others uncomfortable. Stop explaining why you want more and start building it. You don't need more time. You need more urgency. You need to wake up every morning with the fire to move, to grow, to push forward, even when it's hard. Because nothing changes if you don't change. And no one's coming to live your life for you. The clock is ticking, not in fear, but in focus. Every moment that passes is one you don't get back. So don't waste it scrolling through distractions, waiting for motivation, or drowning in self-doubt. Get clear. Get moving. Get serious. This life is not about perfect circumstances. It's about intentional choices. It's about showing up with heart, even on the days you feel tired. It's about making the most of the time you have, with what you have, where you are, right now. You want to be remembered? Then live like your life is worth remembering. You want to leave impact? Then live with impact. Every word, every decision, every step. Make your life a story that inspires, starting today. Make your effort match your vision. Make your mindset match your mission. And when the doubt creeps in, when you feel off track, remind yourself of this truth. You only get one shot, not a redo, not a second draft. One. So don't play scared. Don't play slow. Don't play small. Play all out. With fire, with courage, with clarity. Like someone who knows the value of their time, their story, and their future. Because when it's all said and done, you won't be measured by what you dreamed of doing. You'll be measured by what you actually did, by who you became, by how you played the game, the only one you get. So make the decision now. You will no longer live on autopilot. You will no longer waste your potential. You will no longer act like this life is a warm-up. From this moment forward, you live full out. You speak with purpose. You move with passion. You show up like this is the only life you get, because it is. So, here's your wake-up call. This life, it's not a draft. It's not a test. It's the final cut. And you are the main character. There will be no second chance to rewrite this scene. No, maybe tomorrow to relive this moment. All you have is now. This day, this breath, this decision. So don't just exist. Don't just coast. Don't just survive. Live like it matters. Show up like you've got something to prove to yourself. Move like this is your one shot to leave your mark. Because when it's all over, when the final credits roll, you won't care how safe you played. You'll care how real you lived, how deeply you loved, how boldly you chased your fire, how fiercely you stood up when life hit hard, and how loudly your life said one thing: I gave it everything.